Hey tubers and pickers, it's Drew, the California Picker. Welcome back to my channel, California Pickin'. And a really exciting find today. I'm really pumped up to show this to you. Vintage violin and bow. And if you have no interest in learning about violins or bows, then click off this video and go check out another video of one of my other videos. But if you want to learn about violins and bows and their possible value, well, stay tuned, because I'm going to break it down for you. Could be kind of a long video, we'll just have to see. You know how I can get a little long-winded. But very exciting find. So this came from a thrift store find. And let me turn down the music there. Getting a little out of control with the violins. But so gotta have a little ambiance, you know. But so this was at a thrift store, and it was sitting on the showcase counter, and there was a guy standing by it, and I walked up and I said, "Are you looking at that?" And he goes, "No, no, no," and he kind of backs away, and I opened the case, and this was inside, and I was very pleased to see that it was a vintage violin. I can at least tell the difference between vintage and new, and I knew this was a vintage violin, and I was happy to see that it was a signed violin by a very reputable and old family of violin makers known as the HOPF family, HOPF, and they're from Klingenthal, Germany. They started violin making in this region of Germany in 1611, I believe. And they come, as I said, as a long line family of violin makers. The most famous who are Christian David Hoff Sr., Christian David Hoff Jr. And they lived back in the 1700s. They were the two most famous. But 42, count them, 42 members of the Hoff family have made violins. And they made violins all the way into the 20th century. I'm not sure if they're still in business, but Hoff violins are very nice, middle of the road to nice violins. They're not, considered, by any means A-list violins, but they're very well made. And so let's go check out the violin and break it down for you. So the back of the violin has the maker's mark, Hoff, right there. And it's branded into the back there. You can see it's somewhat three-dimensional. And these violins were often reproduced. So I have not had this looked at by an expert, but I don't believe that this is a reproduction. And I'll tell you why in a little while, but this is what's called a two-piece split-back maple back violin, and it's made out of maple on the back, and the sides are always made out of maple. The front of any musical instrument is always made of spruce, and I guess that's just because it conducts the sound the best. So spruce on guitars, spruce goes on violas, violins, cellos, etc. But the sides and the back are usually maple. And this one happens to be a split back. Sometimes they're one piece. I believe the one piece ones are older. Don't quote me. But let's go walk around the violin a little bit. This up here is called the scroll at the top. Very nice, deep scroll, deeply carved scroll, nice symmetry. You're always looking for nice symmetry, and the Germans were great carvers. Of course, they had all those Black Forest carvings, so they were not strangers to carving. And below it is called the peg box, and the pegs are usually made out of ivory, sometimes ebony, Ebony is the black wood, sometimes with ivory inlay. Mixed up my words there. But the fretboard, which doesn't really have frets on it, but this is also made of ebony, and it also has an ebony tailpiece back here. That's the tailpiece. This is the chin rest. These are what's called the F holes, or the sound holes. Some people might even call that an S, but F holes. And that rolled edge around the sides is called purfling. If it's got the little line, see, is that the line? I don't know. But anyways, I think that might be called purfling, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong. I'm not an expert, but I'm learning. But really nice honey-colored HOPF violin. And after doing some research on this violin, I'm judging it somewhere around 1930 to 1940s era. And I'd take you to some violins on eBay, etc. And this is a nice find, mind you. You know, everyone's thinking, wow, the violin is going to be the most expensive one, you know, and the bow is just whatever that is. But nope. The violin is actually anywhere between somewhere in the $200 to $300 range, somewhere in there. It doesn't have any cracks, which is good. It just needs to be restrung. But sometimes there's these cracks through here. So that's in good shape. There's a post under here, the arch top. That's called the sound post. And that transmits, I guess, it gives the violin stability, number one, but I think it transfers the sound all the way through the instrument, which is very fascinating. And sometimes those sound posts are broken or crippled or knocked off or whatever, and you have to open up the whole violin because it won't play without that sound post. And taking a violin apart is really quite a hassle. And they have to stick very thin little instruments in here, and they separate it and they kind of crack it apart. And it's just very evasive and only suggested for something like a very fine violin, or if you have sentimental concerns about an instrument and you just want to get it playing. But really nice little instrument. So basically, like I said, $200 to $300 on that. Could be a little bit lower in some cases, could be a little bit higher. But where the real winner is, which is really what you're going to want to stay tuned for, and I'm going to put this violin down a second, is the bow. And the bow is very often, if you guys watch the Antique Roadshow, you'll know that the bow is very often more expensive than the violin. And the bows that are worth money are always signed. And this one happens to be a French bow from also a very good to great maker of French bows, and that was Francois Lotte. And this is signed Francois Lotte. He and his son made some of the best violin bows of their day. Let's see if we can see where that is. Very faint signature. Let's see where we can find that. Sorry. It's right there. Hold on a second. Let me just put this down. Ugh. God, sorry about that. It's just not wanting to focus. Anyway, it's such a small little signature, Francois Lotte, right in here. And Francois Lotte was, as I said, really a very competent bow maker, he and his son. And let's walk you through the bow. This is a French bow, as I've said, and I'll give you an example of what makes it a French bow. And this is called the frog right here, and it's made out of ebony. It's the little piece that you hold on to when you play the violin. Your thumb goes right there, I believe. This is called the frog. This is an inlaid mother of pearl frog with silver tipped stick. There's the signature right there, coming out a little better now. And the wood is a Brazilian wood known as Pernambuco. Pernambuco. I always want to say Pernambuco. Pernambuco. Really, Pernambuco. Very hard to say that. The hair is some type of Himalayan horsehair or Mongolian horsehair, something like that. And let's go to eBay and check out some comparables on Francois Lotte. Here we see Francois Lotte right there. His son's just below it. Born 1889, died 1970. What's interesting is I heard both gentlemen died basically at their bench with the plane in their hand as they made these violin bows. Pretty amazing story. And there we see an example of Francois Lotte, and then that's his son below it. Is that? No, sorry, that's a different maker, but there's Francois Lotte and his son below it right there, Roger Francois, who took over the company 1950 something, and his dad still worked on. But really great bow, and I'm so pumped up to show you because look at this price. A Francois Lotte bow, estimated at $2,000 to $3,000, sold for $32.50. Silver mounted violin bow, circa 1935. I'm thinking my bow is right around that same time. Let's go look at some more Francois Lotte bows. A silver mounted violin bow, 1,400 to 1,600 euros. That's gotta be, what, $3,000 as well for that bow. Let's go to another one. French silver mounted violin bow by Francois Lotte, sold for $2,640. His son just below him sold for $1,680. This was in 2013. French silver tipped bow by Francois Lotte. Let's go to another one. This one realized $2,500. That's circa 1950. Estimate was $2,000 to $3,000. These things really kick. Hey, you know what I'm saying. Let's go to look at somebody else. Here's another bow by Francois Lotte. And no prices there, but a little bit of information. A little bit of information on Francois Lotte. Just some more stuff. Look at this price range. Advanced professional bows from this website called 5violinbows.com. Gives you the price ranges of bows. And there we see my bow, Francois Lotte, at the top of the $3,000 to $5,000 bow limit. Is that great? And I tell you, I got the bow, and I got the violin, the case, and the bow, along with a shoulder rest for, I believe, $39.99. Pretty incredible, guys. So don't pass up your violin bows. Make sure that they're signed. And let me go back to this bow and give you another little tip here. This is a French bow. As I mentioned before, Francois Lotte is French. And this is the frog of a French bow right here. And French violin bows have a shallower frog. So the dimension between here and here is shallower than a German bow or Italian bow, which stick out a little farther. Now, I'm not a violinist, so I don't know, but I think it has something to do with the angle of attack and etc. I do not know any more about that, but there's the signature, Francois Lotte. I couldn't get that before, but it's showing up now. So, has a very nice mother of pearl slide. That's the slide right on the bottom. That's what that's called. Inlaid. And then it's got a little tip. Silver tip. This one doesn't have a jewel. Sometimes there's mother of pearl or ivory or a little jewel at the end of these bows. But pretty exciting, guys. Early on in this picking season, I pick up a $2,000 to $4,000 bow and a $200 violin. Now, I'll sell the violin, but what I've read is that over the past 5 years, this violin bows, the finest violin bows, have gone up in value 100%, which nothing has, well, some things have doubled, but that's basically doubled in 5 years. So this is an actual investment that's good to keep for, you know, who knows how long. But it's always going to go up in price. Nobody's going to know that it's valuable. It's not going to take up any room. You just put it in, wrap it up and put it in a corner and wait for it to go up in value. So I want to show you some other prices, if I could find them, because there's some real crazy prices in here. Well, take for instance this. Okay, let's see. Well, no, I can't really find it, but here we go. Yeah, here we go. So mine is quite a, you know, valuable bow. I'm pretty amazed about a bow being worth $3,000. But look at these bows. $25,000 for a bow. $7,900 for a bow. Now, none of them are Lotte. They're other French makers, usually French, generate the most money in the bow category. Italians made the best violins, Germans made violins too, but Italians made the best violins, and French made the best bows. So being a violin maker is called a luthier, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the bow maker is the same person that makes the violin, and vice versa. So I think bow makers were just called bow makers. But look at those prices, you guys. It's unbelievable. Anyways, kind of a long video. I apologize, but I'm excited because that's a pretty incredible find for the California Picker on California Pickin'. So please share on Google+. Hope you enjoyed the little education on violins and bows. And like I said, I'm not an expert, but I'm learning. And it's fun to bring all the information that I learned to you guys so you can go out in the field and find your $3,000 violin bow or possibly more. So anyways, please share on Google+, Facebook, everything else. Tell your friends about California picking. California picking. Yeah, that's right. It's California. So anyways, guys, hope you had fun, and check out some of my other videos. Go check me out on the Collector's Catacomb on Thursday nights with Eric, and also Meet and Greet Wednesday nights, and we'll see you around. Keep on picking. Cheers now. Pick of the year, I think. Bam.